Hey guys, it's Matt here again at my favourite haunt, Sydney Olympic Park, just after midnight and training again. Beautiful night, moon's up, bit of cloud cover, very little wind, good conditions for running, and again I've got the place to myself. I've been thinking about time recently, partly prompted by the MH17 incident over the Ukraine, aboard which was my uncle Nick Norris and his 3 grandchildren who perished as passengers. I think what it must have been like for Nick Norris to be boarding that plane, heading home to Perth, and the last thing on his mind would have been that he would never arrive at his destination. And it's about time that I now want to turn my attention. And I've recently read a statistic that says 2/3 of neonatal deaths are preventable if the correct intervention is applied within the first 7 days. Now that is in itself an astounding figure. An astounding figure. What we also know is in the first 100 days is the most critical time to affect the best possible chance of survival for a child. What happens in those first 100 days is the most critical. For example, the Koreans still have a tradition called the Baekgil separation, 100 days. So at 100 days, they have a big festival with families and friends and the baby. And they basically say, okay, you've made it this far. The likelihood is you're going to get to be seeing adulthood. And a number of African cultures, I understand, have the similar sort of thing. I'm not quite sure exactly what those nuances are, but in many cultures, it's a story that's repeated. And in the West, we have the luxury of not really needing to worry about such things, fortunately. Like, my assumption is that together we can do something to make change happen. I'm not quite sure what that is, which I hope will be in some way fairly sophisticated. And they'll connect us with the people who have the problems and the people who are delivering the solutions. And they'll be more than just give some money to this organisation. They could be things about education, but education has to have a purpose. So if we get education, what is that for? On Saturday is my birthday. And birthdays being the measurement by which we can record child mortality, as in from birth until 5 years. So what I've decided to do is, from my birthday, this Saturday, will be day 1. And for the next 100 days, through until the 17th of November, I will be working tirelessly, dedicating myself to building awareness, the profile, the running as a stunt, culminating in a design forum in Seoul, following the G20 in Brisbane. In that time, there will be events happening across 3 institutions, which I believe are at the heart of having the capacity to help shape child survival. The first thing will actually happen is in mid-September in India, where I'll be participating in the Commonwealth Studies Conference, Part 2 of a gathering. The Commonwealth as an organisation that can really influence child survival. Noting that 2 of the countries in which 1/3 of child mortality occurs, that's Nigeria and India, are both members of the Commonwealth. 1/3 child mortality occurs across 2 countries. If that doesn't make us stop and take note, nothing will. The UNDP, the United Nations Development Programme, which will be featuring heavily at the United Nations General Assembly at the end of September. That's the organisation and the forum where the Millennium Development Goals will be discussed. And that will be a great talkfest. There will be a cast of thousands rocking up to New York with all their entourages, staying in some great hotels, eating some fantastic food, to talk about poverty. And this has been something that's happened for year on year. Now, I don't begrudge that sense of lavish expenditure, and I think that certain people have an expectation that that will occur. But can we take things beyond just talking? Bono, in a talk at Davos, I think in 2012, made a reference to not just having not just another talking shop, actually having action. And so I'm going to apply that sort of philosophy to the 10 City Bridge Run. We are now constrained by time. Noting the fact that the Millennium Development Goals will conclude at the end of 2015. And in 2012, I think it was measured that 15 out of 66 countries that currently have a high rate of infant mortality, that is more than 40 deaths per 1,000 births, or 40 deaths of children under the age of 5 per 1,000 births. 15 of those 66 countries are expected not to achieve the Millennium Development Goal 4 for child mortality. The third group is as I mentioned before, the G20, a meeting in Brisbane, a forum principally designed to look at economic sustainability for countries, largely in the wake of the 2008 GFC. You can extrapolate this out to sort of talk about global poverty being a factor that affects economies across the world over a longer term basis. Now, it's a bit of a long bow, and some would say it's a bit of a spurious argument, but I think there's some merit to it. And if we consider improving child survival as an investment in our collective future, I think it's very important to take note of. So in the next 100 days, I'm focused on conducting this event, conducting 10 runs in 10 cities, which will take place from the 10th of September, starting here in Sydney, going through to Papua New Guinea, India, then weaving my way through, finishing in Seoul, running the last run on United Nations Day, which is the 24th of October. It is going to be a gut-busting effort to get through those runs. I'm just I'm not a professional athlete, and I would say my fitness is at a good level. But it's a tough ask, and I'm going to need some help. The culminating point of this, the point of impact, the point of action, what we're trying to do is actually the D20, the Design Forum in Seoul. All of this points toward getting to that point. So around I see the D20 taking place over 4 or 5 days in a fairly loose arrangement of activities. The first will be the display and I guess the curation of photographs of human bridges that we collect. There will be that weekend of the 15th, 16th of November is when the G20 meets in Brisbane, and it'll be interesting to sort of hear the statement from the G20 and what they say in relation to development. And so on the 17th, 100 days after my birthday, we're going to have a Baguio for the 10 City Bridge Run. And it's really pointing to the fact of we are celebrating improving child survival. The Baguio is an act which at its heart is all about child survival. So I want you to please get involved, and I hope to see you on the journey. Thanks.